Me, Joey, and Steven here. We are joined by Pro Late Model racer Hudson Bulger. So, welcome to the show, Hudson.
Yep, thanks for having me.
So, okay, we got through the technical issues. I'm not sure what was going on there, but
I hope so.
I think so. We'll see. But
Cross our
yeah.
fingers.
So, Hudson, tell us a little bit about yourself and what all you race and what your background is.
So I am 16 years old. I'm from Fort Valley, Georgia. Right now, I'm pretty much full time racing pro late models. Do I started off in legend cars, and I still do run a little bit of legend stuff here and there, but I'm focused right now on pro late model.
Speaking of Pro Late Models, you just came off a win at Cordeal, I believe, right? So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we went the last two times we went there. We went back to back wins. We just got there. We didn't have a whole lot of practice that day, and so we couldn't get the car as dialed in as I feel like we needed to. It was definitely it being my first year. I haven't really raced this time of year in that track. It does change a pretty good bit, setup wise throughout like temperature changes, and that was the first time I raced there where it got kind of cool, and those some adjustments next time on the car that we'll definitely make. So it wasn't a perfect race car, but it was pretty much enough, barely to get us by. We ended up, we were first all day that day in practice, and then we went to qualifying, ended up qualifying on the pole, and we led all 50 laps there, and we are there at the end.
Cordeal's got to be your hometown track, right? I mean, it's not that far away from Fort Valley.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably 45 minutes. So, that's kind of where I've always raced there in legend cars, and like pretty much there in Atlanta Motor Speedway on the quarter mile in legend cars. So I have a lot of laps on that track. So that's pretty much where I started in the Pro Late Mile. We went on there and tested, kind of got everything dialed in and got the speed pretty quick.
So, with that kind of being your background and where you're from, what other racers are from your area that may have helped you along the way?
I mean, there's not that many.
Reed, I mean, Fort Valley is a population of like 7,000 and something people.
You know what I mean. I just mean like that general area of Georgia. There's got to be somebody, right?
I mean, there's I'd say the closest one is probably Bubba Pollard. He's in Sonoya. That's not too terribly far. We have a pretty good relationship with him, and he's definitely helped me with some things throughout, just kind of moving up the late models. And then also my driver coach, Chris Dilbeck, he lives in Montezuma, Georgia, which is not too far from here.
Whose phone's going off?
What?
Steve, was that your phone? That was not my phone, actually. I did get a text message when it went ding, so I looked down. I'm like, oh, I thought my sound was still on. I turned it off, but apparently, I don't know who the phone call was. That wasn't me.
No, so I don't know, it just popped up on my computer screen. I don't know how someone calls me to my computer, but
kind of escaping the Georgia talking points. You ran at Montgomery too this year, and you were Rookie of the Year there. So, how's Montgomery compared to Cordeal?
Yeah, so it's a lot bigger track. I'm pretty sure it's a half mile.
Yep.
Yes, it's a half mile. It's a flatter track. Definitely, it's a lot harder on tires there. It's probably right there. I mean, it's not as bad as Pensacola, but it's up there with Pensacola. I mean, it's just a bigger, flatter. I mean, it's a pretty flat racetrack. So definitely, you have to drive it a lot different. I personally, I like it. I almost wish they could repave it, but
then it just loses its charm. I mean, that's the thing.
he's
That's the deal with old racetracks. You repave it, and then
yeah,
it takes a while for the racing to come back into form.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
almost feels like a bigger version of like a flat quarter mile racetrack. Just the way that there's not a lot of banking to hold you, and there's not a lot of grip, so it's just kind of you know there's not. I mean, you can race on the top, but it's not as easy as most tracks to race on the top there.
I will say the only thing I know about that track surface is you will get slung around in the back of a pickup truck trying to take
Yep.
photos of the starting lineup. And Reed,
Yeah,
you probably
I
know about
learned that a few weeks ago too.
that. It's fun, but dear God, you get beat up back there.
And I mean, the obviously I wasn't strapped in. I was just sitting in the back of a pickup truck, but
Yeah,
getting thrown around as he guns it to about 60, 70 on the pace lap. Uh,
I just call that a good time.
it was fun, but yeah, it definitely isn't banked like a lot of other tracks are, which I feel like it might make it more difficult to some people who aren't there as often. But it's it's an interesting challenge. I think it gives the entire scene some variety. So speaking of variety, what all tracks have you been to or hope to go to soon?
Um, so right now in the Legend car, we pretty much only ran whenever they opened Lanier up for a little bit. Um, we ran the quarter mile in Atlanta, that the new third mile that they have. I ran Cordial and Legend car pro late model, and then as far as pro late model, um, Montgomery, New Smyrna, Pensacola, and obviously Cordial. I think that's pretty much the main tracks, but I'd like to, make my way up into the Carolinas pretty soon. Even Nashville is a pretty big one. I feel like we're kind of headed towards next after we get done with the Snowball Derby or Snowflake Derby.
So yeah, the Snowflake 100 later this year. I mean, you've been to that track before, but with the competition that's going to be there, is it any less intimidating? How do you approach going to such a big race weekend?
I mean, it would definitely be really intimidating if I raced there. We just ran that last race that they had of the year before it, just to kind of go down there for the first time, and definitely got some laps. I feel like I don't want to say lost, but at the beginning of the race, I was more like it was a big learning curve. But there at the end, I kind of got things figured out, and we were able to keep up with some pretty quick cars. They're usually fast at the Snowflake, so I feel like we have a pretty good feeling about it, and we should be able to do pretty good there, hopefully.
So, do you spend a lot of time in the sim preparing for these tracks and these races?
Yes. So I try to spend pretty much. So I do online school, and I feel like as soon as I get done with that, if I'm not doing anything else, like today, I got on it for like an hour or so. That's like minimum. I try to get on it a pretty good bit, especially going there because it is on iRacing. So I do spend a lot of time in Pensacola.
The competition we were talking about earlier, obviously there's a lot of out of state, out of area guys that come to Pensacola for a snowflake and a snowball. But as far as the regular competition you faced this year, did you have any sort of rivalry, any sort of competitor that stood out from the rest and made it hard for you, or they all kind of blend in?
There was definitely like a couple people, they didn't exactly race me very clean at all, and just kind of throughout the whole year, pretty much everywhere we went. But we just ended up being faster than them and didn't really have to worry about them there at the end of the year. So besides that, no, not really. I try to keep, I don't want to be hated, but I don't make too many friends at the racetrack.
I mean, you're not there to make friends, you're there to
So
race.
you're there to rattle their cage, may I say?
We just
Speaking of rattling cages,
I don't want to intentionally wreck anyone unless.
Yeah. Speaking of rattling cages, have you had like any fights as of recently, just like or any altercations at the racetrack?
Not really. I mean, the last one was probably at Montgomery, which is pretty much the last. But it's just racing. There's a lot of drama in the pit, so
Yeah.
We've
Always
seen
drama.
that a lot here in the past, 2 weeks?
yeah, I know.
Oof.
And all the drama, all the fights, it all, the conversation of respect in pro late model and even super late model racing has come up. And a lot of people, they just look at the ages of these drivers. You're a teenager, there's a million other teenagers racing these things, and everybody just seems to have the same opinion of, oh, these teenagers don't drive with respect and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. How do you what would you say to those kind of people who may judge you without even seeing you race?
Um, to be honest, most people I've ran into that have gotten mad at me, I think the majority of them have been like older people. Like I don't. There's only been a couple of times there's been people my age that like we actually
Yeah.
had like a rivalry going, but I don't know. I just don't think that. I certainly think that the younger like teenage kind of like 15 to 18 somewhere in there are there is some very talented like race car drivers, but there's also some people I feel like that almost do not need to be racing. um but yeah, I don't know what I'd say to him.
I don't know. I feel like the conversation comes up more and more just because
Yeah.
you were seeing more younger guys doing these races. So inherently, the fields are filled with less experienced drivers. More stuff's bound to happen.
Yeah, I think that's a very big part of it because like I think it's almost like all the majority of the people that run up front are younger, just trying to make their career in racing right now. And
Yeah.
I
Have
do
you have
I
you
don't treat like anyone different. Like I'm not like I don't think that the younger or older is better than one. I just feel like they're pretty equal, but there is a lot of very good young race car drivers.
yeah. Have you ever raced against like any like legends, any like superstars out in like, the Cup Series level or even like the Truck Series level?
Um, I don't
Anything that
think
comes
so,
to mind?
actually. I'm trying to think. So my car, whenever we first got it, and I was still racing legend cars last year at Speedfest, David Reagan drove it in that Speedfest just to kind of get everything ready. But that's about it. I don't think I've raced against any.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I remember Reagan driving the 17 car earlier in the year, and you don't see as many guys like do pro late model races. It does happen every now and then. Like I think Chris Wright, he's ran Xfinity trucks. He did a pro late model race or two this year, at Pensacola. But for the most part, you see Cup guys coming down. They're going to super late models at the lowest for the most part. But um, speaking of David Reagan, he's also from around that general area. So have you had any sort of interactions with him before Speedfest this year?
Yes. So his first cousin is my crew chief. So David's always been kind of like there. I've had multiple conversations with him. It's just kind of he's just one of those people that's just kind of there. I mean, I definitely look up to him. I think he's a very good race car driver. You know, I wish honestly he could have done better at Speedfest, but it just on one of the restarts someone missed a shift and it just did not work out.
We
uh,
just got a comment from Casey. Got right reared by Kyle Busch at Nashville.
Yeah.
I've got to run in with Kyle Busch. That was a fun ordeal. I actually showed Reed where it happened this weekend.
Yeah, you show me that.
That was
same spot at AMP.
that was a fun race.
You ever been up that way, Hudson, to Atlanta Motorsports Park?
I'll actually be there tomorrow.
Oh, what are you doing up there tomorrow?
They have a legend car practice, so they weren't gonna let us race this year in legend cars, but they have this new. It's like I don't know. I saw a picture of it. It looks so weird. It's like slides in the exhaust or in the headers or something, and it's supposed to make it quieter so that we can race over this year. And we're going up there. I guess they're going to have like the sound decimal
Yeah.
thing there, and they just kind of want us to practice for a few hours and see.
From my understanding, we are still waiting on a sound ordinance waiver to be cleared. We just recently got approved, and then why I say we, I actually announced up at AMP. So if you're up there, you might run into
Shout
me.
out to AMP.
Yeah, shout out
AMP's
to our
cool.
guys at AMP, Will Rigdon, Jeremy Porter, all those wonderful people up there. Travis and Race Control. But
But you know, AMP, that's up. It you got Atlanta Motor Speedway, obviously, is the big one. AMP north of Atlanta, all the tracks south of Atlanta, Sonoya, Cordele. What is there any other like areas of Georgia, any other tracks that you've either been to as a fan or driver that stand out?
Um, there's no. I think I've been to pretty much all of them in Georgia, and Lanier right across from Amp. They have. I really wish that they could get that place back going with late models on it because I raced there a little bit on legend cars, and I feel like late models there would definitely be fun. I've heard from people that the racing there was always pretty good.
no, where was this at?
A Lanier,
Oh yeah, Lanier
Got it.
National when it
Yeah,
was Lanier. Yes, I remember as a kid when NASCAR was actually there with the
Yeah.
Craftsman Truck Series back in the day. It was an experience to watch them run that track. It's changed so much since it's changed hands. It's now owned by the Caffeine and Octane guys. They do a bunch of events out there. Wonderful people. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Georgia Legends are actually based out of Lanier now, or are they still down at Atlanta Motorsports?
I think they're still down in Atlanta.
I can't remember.
So
Yeah, I'm pretty
long
sure.
term, I mean, you got Pro Late models this year, and you're still building on that. But long term, where do you see your career? If say 4 or 5 years from now.
4 or 5 years. So I definitely this next year I'll be running supers, and I'll probably run still pro stuff, but some super stuff, and then from there I kind of just want to go into a NASCAR Truck Series. I mean, run ARCA if I need to, but probably in trucks and somewhere racing in NASCAR, hopefully, whether it be trucks, Xfinity, whatever.
And with
No,
the progression of your career, or go ahead, Steve.
now I know you probably can't disclose anything, but do you know if you're currently being scouted by any of the Truck Series teams or any ARCA teams?
Um, I would say no, not right now.
Not at the moment.
Yeah,
Well,
not.
I was gonna kind of
We're
get
definitely we've looked at a lot of stuff, but not at the moment.
you're a Hornaday development driver. So what has that been like with Ron Hornaday and all the crew there? How are they helping your career progress? What is the goal there with
Yeah,
that group of
so
guys?
they've definitely helped. Like they helped me get on this podcast. They helped me. I think I am like the newest driver that they have, so I haven't been with them for too long, but I'm definitely seeing a lot of stuff going up in Charlotte. As much as we can, pretty much every other week now. Doing the go kart training, just stuff like that. Trying to really get good at talking on camera in person and being physically in shape. But I definitely feel like they have a lot of connections with people, so I think it's a good thing to be a part of.
So just wanted to kind of give a shout out to Hornaday and let you elaborate on that a little bit. I guess we've been at this about 20 minutes. So before we start to wind things down here, you got any sort of sponsor plugs that you like to do?
Yeah, so racing is very expensive, so you try to get pretty much as much sponsors as you can. But I just like thank Byron Outdoor Superstore, Can Am, Cirque Motorsports, Unknown Media House, Morris Bank, and Caldwell Banker Free Realty, Hamby Chevrolet, Antler Extreme. my parents, obviously, but that's pretty much it.
Now, speaking of Can-Am, it looks like you got something behind you. Why don't you show the people at home what that is?
Yeah, I think we have a really good connection. They used to be in NASCAR not too long ago. They sponsored a car. I think they might have even had a sponsored a race at one point. But we have a really good connection with them, so they're our like primary sponsor right now, I'd say.
I was about to say, every time I've seen your car at the track, it's got Can-Am on the hood.
Yeah. So I feel like they're pretty much our biggest sponsor right now. We just have like the Byron Outdoor Superstore is a family-owned business that we own, and my dad sells Can-Ams, so he kind of has some connections through theirs with like the sales reps and stuff. So that's kind of how that all came together. It's just
Can we see that? Can we see that hood?
the hood.
Yeah. Oh damn! Look at that thing.
Nice, man.
That's
See, I don't have a hood. I just got Johnny Armando's wreck.
Oh, yeah, he's got Johnny Crash's door panel there.
Door panel. That was one of the craziest nights ever. Same thing with this one back here. That was another crazy night. That was at a local track here. Yeah. I'm not sure if you're familiar with North Georgia. North Georgia Speedway up in it's a dirt track.
Yeah, I've heard of it a couple times.
Long story short, there was a guy that was flipping midair, and I'm like one of the only photographers right there, and I'm snapping pictures. And as soon as he landed on his top, crawls out of the hood, looks at me, takes his helmet off, says, "For the love of God, tell me you got that on camera." And I got it on camera, and in exchange for the photos, he gave me his door. So I've got it hanging in the office, kind of as a.
We got Casey over here commenting.
Oh yeah, I just saw that.
Saying maybe get old Ron Hornaday, put you one of his dirt mods. Could you see yourself going dirt racing?
Yeah, we have some things ahead of us. Like I said earlier, with Bubba Pollard, his family owns Sonora Raceway. But anyways, they have a dirt car that hopefully I can get in here pretty soon. Just try to, feel some different things. It'd definitely be a lot different driving on dirt. It's pretty much the exact opposite of what I'd, everything I've tried not to do on asphalt. I'm just on dirt.
Just remember, turn right to go left.
Yes.
Just don't try to get wires crossed in your brain and turn right to go left next time you're in Montgomery, because that does not work.
No, there's an unforgiving wall right there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're used to not. So, I guess unless y'all have anything else, we're about ready to wind this down.
No, I got nothing.
Since we did it with our last guest, we talked about music just really quickly. Just trying to get our know, I guess, a little bit better. Do you have a favorite genre of music? I mean, it's okay because we all listen to all
is he's really old, so he's trying to make sure that
I'm trying to relate. I'm not really old.
He's trying to keep up with the youngsters, if you will.
I'm
hip.
I definitely say, let's see. Definitely country music.
Okay. All right.
Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer.
Country, this is going to define it, because if he says Florida Georgia Line, he's going off the podcast right now. But
no, I'm more into I don't know. I don't really like some of the newer stuff. Some of them are good, but it's turned into more like faster paced music. I don't know. I kind of like more older country music.
I have a feeling he's going the right direction with this.
Same here.
Yeah, I don't really have a specific artist that I like. It's just kind of all older country music. But I don't know. I'm not. But y'all listen to newer stuff too. It's just some of the songs.
Trying to get a little more specific. What era is it? Or what year is it?
Are we talking 80s, Waylon? Are we talking Hank Senior? Are we talking?
Not that old.
Okay, all right. So more some of the more modern stuff.
Yeah, so 90s country.
Yeah, 90. I think 90s country. I don't listen a lot to country, but a lot of the 90s have a lot of bangers. They do got a lot of bangers.
You got Reed over here that's Mr. Outlaw Country man that knows every outlaw
Well,
country artist within the past 15 years.
I'm like I am a modern like country music snob of like what I like is like I don't like any of this. I basically if it gets played on radio, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
Out. Out.
Um,
There's the door.
except for maybe like two people. So I'm like very specific with my country music and what gets played in my car.
He shared a whole playlist with me this weekend, basically, of what
I
not to listen
recommended two
to.
guys to you, and you didn't play either.
I played one of them, I think.
Instead you tried saying Siri play some rapper, and then it played Tyler Childers.
Yeah. There was some rapper name that you gave me to play, and then it was nowhere near it, and it was like playing Tyler Childers. And he got it on camera. It was absolutely funny.
But yeah, so now that Steve probably feels a little bit older once again, trying to relate to these youngins.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for coming on, Hudson. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do.
Thanks for having me.
It's been fun.
And I'm sure we'll see you at the track sometime soon. So
now, before you go, what is the next event that you're doing? That's late model.
Oh.
It should be I got a little bit of a break here. The Governor's Cup, New Smyrna.
Okay.
That's before the Snowflake, right? Yeah, I think. Yeah, it should be the Governor's Cup, New Smyrna, and then I will go to the Snowflake at Pensacola.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely try to catch up with you when we're down there. Hopefully, we'll be down there all week. So maybe we can meet you in person. That'd be awesome. Kind of put a actual face with the face. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I won't be down
face
there.
to
I'm
face
way
on
too busy up here in Ohio.
yeah, I mean, Joey, you could come to Pensacola if you really wanted to.
Could, but the money.
Heck, we'll even pitch in for part of your stay in the Airbnb.
I'm telling you, we got you, Joey.
Yeah, we got this.
But anyways,
we'll see.
So thanks everybody for watching, for tuning in. We'll be back on the stream, in a little while. Steve's about to be on a honeymoon for a little while, so he'll be occupied for maybe a month.
About 3 weeks, yeah. 3 weeks, almost a month.
So not sure when we'll do one of these streams again, but thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you around.